Previously.
You are exiled, and you are a Jedi no longer.
Despite the fact that they had exiled her 9 years prior, she decides to return. Admiral Karth Onasi orders the Harbinger, a Republic cruiser bound for Onderon, to change course and head to the Outer Rim in order to pick up Surik. During this time, Surik is visited by an HK-50 protocol droid. As days pass, a certain degree of anxiety becomes palpable amongst the crew. Every footstep feels as if it were echoed by another. As she turns, there's none there. There's only darkness. As her vision stabilizes, she awakens to uncertainty. This is not the Harbinger. The passage of time since then remains a mystery. Upon closer inspection of these Kolto panels, Surik believes it unlikely no one was alerted by them. 4 of the 5 panels are blaring a persistent alert that their occupants are dead. Yet, not a single soul is here. In hopes of finding answers, Surik sets off to explore the area, quickly running into a dead end, a most unusual one at that, as the path through the main corridor is blocked off by this damaged door. Whether the damage done to it was accidental or intentional is unclear. Without something to burn through its circuitry, she won't be able to force it open. Examining a nearby terminal labeled as the Peragus Medical Bay Console, Surik discovers that she had been in that Kolto tank for just over 3 days.
Still examining the survivors of the damaged freighter. Looks like it goes by the name of the Ebon Hawk. Only one survivor, placed in the Kolto tank for recovery. The carbon scoring on the vessel suggests it was in a battle, but no indication of who fired on it. Couldn't get much from the Nava computer. I'm surprised the ship was able to make it inside the Peragus asteroid field without the asteroid drift charts. Aside from the lone survivor, we recovered an old woman. No life signs. There was also a protocol droid and a utility droid on board. Sent both down to maintenance while security sorts through the other items on the ship. It looks like the utility droid, a T3 unit, was able to get the ship working enough to get to the colony.
To her surprise, despite there being no way of them knowing it, the logs indicate that only a day after she arrived, people in this facility began speculating that she could be a
Jedi. But we won't know for sure until we get the transmission back from the Republic. If the survivor is a Jedi, that would account for the recovery rate. But I'm more concerned that a Jedi here may cause trouble. Some of the miners, especially Korta, are already Another accident today. A detonation in the ventilation tunnels. If the lockdown measures hadn't activated, the whole facility would have been destroyed. Got most of the injured to the Kolto tanks in time, but the rest had to go to the morgue. One of the wounded said a droid caused the accident, but we couldn't get any specifics.
These reports on droids malfunctioning appear to coincide with the arrival of the Ebon Hawk. The final medical log entry was made 1 day prior. No further entries since then.
There was a detonation in another one of the fuel vents the droids were working in. We deactivated several of them and moved them down to maintenance. but we're still treating the plasma burns. That cuts us down to almost half shifts, and with the droids malfunctioning, we may not make the Telos shipment for this month. Fortunately, the detonation didn't cause a lockdown.
Warning. There has been a fuel detonation in the mining tunnels. Emergency lockdown commencing. All personnel report to quarters and prepare for emergency venting countermeasures.
No! If the ventilation systems are malfunctioning, evacuate the medical bay! Everyone evacuate!
A handful of possible scenarios race through her head, all of which result in a number, or perhaps even all, of miners being hurt. Further examination reveals something unexpected. All 5 Kolto tanks had been administered a lethal dose of sedatives.
Why did they spare you?
She must venture deeper into the station in hopes of finding survivors and an explanation for this. In an attempt to bypass the damaged door, she decides to explore the morgue for any tools she could use to force the door open. Most of the morgue is vacant, apart from 2 corpses. By the one in the distance, she immediately notices a plasma torch, but before proceeding, she eyes the nearest corpse, the one of the old woman who was brought with her on the Hawk. She appears to be dead. No indication of breathing occurs. Interestingly, based on the Ebon Hawk's survival time, she has been dead for at least 3 days, but there's no indication of decay, and no sign of what killed her. A thought crosses her mind, but she abandons it given the urgency for time. She proceeds to collect the torch.
Find what you're looking for amongst the dead?
To have eluded both her and the medical scans, this old woman must have been in deep hibernation, possible only through a rare force technique typically used when one's body is close to death.
Close to death, yes, closer than I'd like. I slept here too long and could not awaken. Awaken.
The voice.
It may be I reached out unconsciously, and your mind must have been a willing one. Or perhaps you have been trained for such things.
Conscious or not, accompanied by the fact that she was able to induce force hibernation, one of the more challenging force techniques, it is clear this is no ordinary woman.
I am Kreia, and I am your rescuer, as you are mine. Tell me, do you recall what happened?
As hard as she may try to recall, there appears to be a glaring gap in memory between entering the medical bay aboard the Harbinger and awakening in the one on Peragus, a place she knows nothing about. Surik had hoped someone like Kreia would have more answers about how they both ended up here.
I do not know where here is. I do recall rescuing you. The Republic ship you were on was attacked.
It would appear trouble followed even beyond the Harbinger. Surik shares what she discovered, including the fact that all Kolto tanks in the medbay were programmed to kill their occupants. But strangely, despite also receiving a lethal dose of sedatives, she managed to survive.
A result of your Jedi training, no doubt. Your stance, your walk tells me you are a Jedi. Your walk is heavy. You carry something that weighs you down.
While Kreia's insights may be a topic worth exploring, this is a discussion for another time.
Perhaps we could discuss it at length later on. Now we have other concerns. I was removed from the events of the world as I slept. A survey of the surroundings may provide the answers we seek. The ship we arrived in must still be in this place. We should recover it and leave. We were attacked once, and I fear our attackers will not give up the hunt so easily. Without transport, weapons, and information, they will find us easy prey indeed. Even as I slept, I felt much unrest here. I saw strange visions, minds colored with fear. Now, everything here feels terribly silent. I would find out as much as you can about this place quickly. I fear we will need to depart as suddenly as we arrived.
A fair assessment, though it may be best that Kreia stays here before Surik can confirm it's safe to continue. After all, she had just awoken from her state, and might not be fit to protect herself on her own.
I'm not offering to help you. I'm not so young as to leap from death's door as quickly as you. I leave you to the explorations of this place. Here I will remain and attempt to center myself. You may wish to extend your search to some clothes, if only for proper first impressions.
Using the plasma torch she obtained, Surik manages to weaken the damaged door sufficiently to unseal it, only to be greeted by more corpses. Nearly every room she walks through is littered with broken mining droids and corpses of miners, covered by scorch marks. They don't appear to have come from ordinary weapons used for such a purpose.
This is the exit, but it is sealed. Strange. In my visions, it was open.
This is the exit, but it is sealed. Strange. For some reason, Surik believes it should not be sealed. Despite believing this is where she needs to go, there appears to be no way of unsealing the door. So she proceeds onward. Perhaps she might find a way to...
Be careful. There is much energy in the room beyond, yet it stems from nothing that lives.
Krea's voice surprises her, coming through as clearly as if Krea were right next to her.
Can you not sense them? Reach out. Cast aside your sight. Cast aside what you see, and instead reach out with your perceptions. You can feel them. The droids you cannot perceive, but the small oscillations of energy, that you can feel, echoing outwards.
As she unseals the doors, prepared for their attack, Surik engages the droids and disables them one by one, dodging their laser shots. For the first time in a long time, engulfed by battle, an unusual sensation envelops her senses. She had almost forgotten.
It is fate, but it is there. It is the force you feel. It has not been so long as for you to forget.
But it does not feel as it once did. Instead, it's coming from a great distance.
Do not turn away from it. Listen. Feel it echoing within you.
She hadn't even realized it, but the second the door had unsealed, her senses had become sharper, her movements quicker, and her resolve stronger. With the droids defeated, she now focuses on the sensation more clearly.
Come, I shall guide you down the familiar paths. You will need it if we are to survive and escape this place.
It is light years away from what it once was, but it is with her once more. Inspired, yet careful, Surik proceeds deeper into the facility. No sign of anything living in the area. Nothing. Except...
Beyond this door, someone yet lives. Be mindful. His thoughts are difficult to read. But you have nothing to fear from this one, and he might yet prove useful.
Nice outfit. What, you miners change regulation uniforms while I've been in here?
She was hoping to find allies who would make the situation clearer. A person behind a force field might not qualify.
Security claimed I violated some trumped-up regulation or another. Take it up with them if you want. But they stopped listening to me shortly before they stopped feeding me. Now that's criminal. Atten Rand. Excuse me if I don't shake hands. The field only causes mild electrical burns.
Atten does not appear to be an officer in this facility, but he may yet provide some information about this place.
Oh, you mean you didn't come here on purpose? I'm shocked. I really am. This slice of paradise is the Peragus mining facility, the only supplier of shipping-grade engine fuel to this corner of the galaxy. Peragus fuel plays havoc with engines, but it gets the job done. As long as you don't mind the toxic byproducts and trying to mine it without blowing yourself up.
It must be highly volatile.
Yeah, this asteroid belt is one giant minefield. One proton torpedo, even a stray blaster shot, can start an explosion that'll make the one that shattered Peragus 2 look like a kid's pop detonator. You know the planet with the exposed core you saw flying in? That hole was caused by the first mining station that tried to siphon fuel off the planet. Blew a whole chunk out of the planet and set it drifting out here in a big clump of fuel-cooled asteroids. So the miners drill the asteroids now, not the planet's surface. That's why they don't allow blasters here. Can't trust a miner jumped up on Juma juice not to fire one stray shot that'll turn the entire colony into a thermal detonator.
That would explain the logs about the explosions, but not why the entire facility is deserted. It has not been destroyed entirely. It is still unclear what happened here.
You mean before or after that Jedi showed up? Either way, it's a real short story. You see, this Jedi shows up, and you know what that means. Where there's one Jedi, the Republic will soon be crawling up your ion engine in no time. But the story gets better. See, Some of the miners get it into their ferrocrete skulls that since the Jedi's unconscious, they can collect the bounty the exchange has posted for live Jedi. Well, what passes for the law here didn't like that idea. So the two groups started fighting.
Bounty on living Jedi? Surik had heard news of Jedi disappearing across the galaxy, but certainly didn't expect bounties to be placed on their lives. At least, not so soon.
Don't know much about it. Maybe the exchange wants one as a trophy, or somebody's got something against Jedi and is looking to collect. Not many Jedi left. Wouldn't surprise me if the bounty's pretty high.
Not many Jedi left. Of the many she knew, how many remain, she wonders. If Jedi are truly such a rare sight in the galaxy, their numbers must be very thin.
Look, not like your half-naked interrogation isn't a personal fantasy of mine, but hey, wait a minute. You're that Jedi the miners were talking about. Look, hey, let me out and I can help you. I can. I've gotten out of trouble countless times.
It won't be easy to trust someone in Atton's position. Quite literally.
Don't give me that. Just in case you don't understand the trouble we're in, let me lay it out for you. Every asteroid in this orbiting minefield has deposits of Peragian fuel within it. That means when one decides to pop, its brothers and sisters are going to come along for the ride. One explosion, you might survive. But 100? 1,000? You'll be riding out of here on a comet trail, Jedi. So if something's gone wrong here, you can cling to the Force all you want. But nothing will stop this place from going critical. This facility isn't a military installation, which means we may have a chance. You shut down this cell security field, and I can reroute the emergency system so we can get to the hangars. We grab a ship, and then we fly out of here.
A fair point. And it appears Surik is in no position to argue, given the present circumstances. Besides, she is confident to be more than capable to handle Atton, even without her recent revelation.
Great. Now to business. Let's get to the command console.
The Peragus mining facility constantly sends out automatic hails to incoming vessels, along with asteroid drift charts. Incoming vessels need these to ensure they don't crash into random asteroids upon approach.
Thing is, you can bounce that same transmission back to the comm here, and suddenly you've got access to the communication system from the inside. Pure Pazak. The console's ours. Now, all we need to do is reactivate the turbo lifts, cancel the emergency lockdown. Hey, this system's been severed from the main hub, after it was locked down from remote. You can't even reroute the system, it's been cut clean. Someone tried to lock down this whole level tight, and leave us here, trapped.
Before they can decide on their next course of action, they may extract more information about events from this terminal.
Tracked the freighter in. Was lucky it wasn't destroyed when it drifted into the asteroid field.
Alongside mostly useless data for their present situation, she uncovers the cause of the unknown explosions in the mining tunnels.
Accidents are making the miners restless. The droid behavior course must be undergoing some kind of binary decay. 2 miners were drilled by a droid's mining laser, and those blasts in the ventilation tunnels nearly caused the whole facility to blow.
Holologs don't seem to provide any insight into who could have severed this terminal's link or why. It is clear that the present situation was not caused by mere accidents, but intent. While this console cannot end the emergency lockdown and unseal the turbolifts, it may be able to communicate to the rest of the facility.
We could try, but if the miners were trying to trap you up here and probably kill you, why not call them and chat?
Regardless, any sort of communication is better than none. Surik keeps sending a message to other areas of the facility. After several minutes of trying, it appears no living soul can hear her attempts. This message is coming from the hangar. This must be the T3 unit that arrived with the Ebon Hawk, alongside Surik, Kreia, and the protocol droid. This T3 unit appears to be capable enough to provide some assistance. Its diagnostic approves that it's functioning optimally. Surik instructs T3 to unseal the emergency hatch so that she may proceed deeper into the facility. Considering the task as good as done, T3 proceeds towards the fuel depot. Here, T3 may access a terminal that will have the ability to unseal the emergency hatch. The once dormant droids seem to have decided to make T3 their new target. T3 passes through to the lift to the fuel depot, and upon reaching its terminal, he searches for a way to unseal the emergency hatch on the administration level. Analyzing a colossal quantity of data in seconds, T3 runs across logs which show peculiar information. Someone has been creating phantom fuel leaks and threats, using the emergency lockdown to section up parts of this facility, then covering their tracks flawlessly. He realizes that even if Surik and her allies reach the fuel depot using the turbo lifts, they will be on the opposite side of the lockdown and still be unable to access the Ebon Hawk. This is highly important information he will convey to his new allies as quickly as possible. As she awaits for T3 to complete his task, Surik examines the layout of the facility. If T3 is successful, she could use the emergency hatch to reach the mining tunnels. From there, the fuel depot, and finally the hangar where the Ebon Hawk is.
Hey, what do you know? A little cargo cylinder came through.
Wasting no time, Surik equips a comlink to stay in contact with Aten while she heads to the turbo lift. Shortly after exiting the lift, she finds emergency supplies, along with some much-awaited clothing.
Damn it. Good to hear it. No sense in you running around half naked. It's distracting. For the droids.
The supplies also include an energy shield.
Yeah, it's like a military-issue energy shield, except it's designed to protect the miners against lasers and heat. Should work against the droid mining lasers. It won't last forever, and certainly not against multiple laser hits. But it may buy you some time if you get ambushed by a battalion of droids.
Now, with some form of actual equipment, Surik proceeds through the mining tunnels. This droid appears to have run into a glitch of some sort. Knowing her way around droid circuitry, Surik reinitializes its systems, after making a slight modification to its programming. No matter how temporary, assistance is highly valued in the present situation. The energy shield proves to be a lifesaver, but it won't last forever. She hopes to find a more permanent solution to the droid problem.
You're getting close to something big. I think it's the main ventilation shaft. There's got to be some central controller down there. That'd be governing intelligence.
Here, all suspicions are confirmed that the droids are not malfunctioning in any way, as there is a clear command placed in their programming to attack anything organic. While it may not affect all droids in the entire facility, Surik disables the command for those on this level, allowing her to pass safely to the turbolift. Unfortunately, the tunnels leading to it have collapsed. The only way to reach the turbolift is to disable the containment fields.
Containment fields in the mining tunnels are shutting down. You need to get out of there before they vent fuel to the surface of the asteroid through the tunnels. I'm locking down the turbolift to the administration section now to keep the blast from spreading. If you've got anything left to do down there, make it quick, because where you are is going to get real hot real soon.
With still a few minutes to spare before the area becomes hazardous, Surik examines the terminal for any useful information. She quickly notices neatly organized, labeled, and dated camera recordings connected to worksheets. One of the recordings sticks out in that it had all these labels removed. This would prevent it from automatically appearing in reports.
We're supposed to be sinking fuel siphons into the 3218 asteroid shelf right now.
Forget the siphons. You know that survivor they pulled from the freighter? One of the miners said they served with her on Malachor 5.
Malachor 5? So she's one of the survivors? Or worse, a Mandalorian. So what?
Not a survivor, idiot. She's one of the Jedi from Malachor 5.
If she's one of the Jedi, hell, we can't have her walking around here. I don't know what she'll do.
I thought all the Jedi were wiped out in the Civil War, weren't they?
Guess they missed one. But it gets better. I did some checking, and that bounty on Nar Shaddaa is still alive.
What? You want to sell the Jedi to the exchange? Korda, have you been chewing spice?
Look, you know how big that bounty is? That Jedi's our ticket off this rock.
Gorda, there's no way the officers will go for that. They'll lock us up for sure.
Then we'll improvise.
Their plans surrounding the Jedi bounty clearly went beyond a simple idea. Still, it is unlikely the miners would be too invested in this conspiracy given the present situation of the facility. If they still live, she will need them. Surik proceeds with caution, prepared for anything that awaits at the fuel depot.
Greeting. It is a pleasure to see you intact, Master.
This must be the protocol droid that arrived with them on the Ebon Hawk.
Answer. I am a survivor of the Harbinger, just as you were, Master. With the unexpected termination of my previous Master, you are the only organic which I may now serve.
This protocol droid will surely know more about the events that transpired between the Harbinger and now.
Hesitant explanation. That has been the subject of considerable discussion since our arrival here, Master. Many have attempted to claim you and this unit as salvage. I was crudely interrogated concerning our brief history together on board the Harbinger.
HK-50 provides some additional information that fills the gap in memory, beginning with the moment Surik first boarded the Harbinger in the Outer Rim. Shortly after she settled in, the Harbinger pulled to a stop to examine quite an unusual scene. 2 empty vessels adrift in space, one Sith warship and another a freighter named the Ebon Hawk. Oddly enough, as the Harbinger's crew physically connected to each vessel, they didn't find a single soul on board either. For whatever reason, the captain of the Harbinger believed the Ebon Hawk was still spaceworthy and could be repaired, so they took the Ebon Hawk on board the Harbinger before continuing on course. Everything proceeded functioning normally aboard the ship, up until the time when Surik was requested to visit the medbay, when she lost consciousness. At that time, HK explains, for an unknown reason the Harbinger's systems started to fail, quickly disabling the ship. HK-50 speculates that this damage distracted the crew enough to allow someone to place her unconscious body inside one of the cargo holds. In the midst of the chaos, the Harbinger's systems kept getting worse. Then suddenly, the cargo compartment she was in was breached, and she was taken on board the Ebon Hawk. HK-50 also mentions something that she finds quite unusual given her previous command experience. For some reason, the Harbinger opened fire on the Hawk. It would make little sense for Republic soldiers to do such a thing given the circumstances they were in. Another unusual matter is that it appears the Ebon Hawk happened to be precisely at the right place at the right time to save her life.
Speculation. Perhaps it was always its intention to play dead, then kidnap you off the Harbinger and rob me of my bounty.
Bounty?
Clarification. By bounty, I refer to your life, Master. It would pain me to see you damaged in any way. Suffice to say that once we arrived at this floating rock, our situation became much clearer. Explanation. Despite my market value, Master, the miners were far more interested in you. I was forced to remind myself it was not due to a failing of my model or function, but because you were a Jedi.
Surik didn't have any Jedi robes or a lightsaber on her. They had no way of knowing she was a Jedi.
Surprised answer. Why, I told them, Master. You are the exiled Jedi who served with Revan in the Mandalorian Wars, are you not? I hope all that has happened has not been the result of a miscommunication. If so, then the problem lies with the core word databases, which are notoriously spotty.
She was certain no member of the Harbinger knew she was a Jedi. Her identity was kept secret. This protocol droid seems to possess significant knowledge, since the information on her history would be present only in Jedi archives.
All that has happened has been because they believe you to be a Jedi, Master. They debated what to do with you as you lay unconscious in the medical bay. One group seemed intent on selling you as property. The other group opposed this. 3 standard hours after the division between the miners became apparent, accidents began to occur throughout the facility. A result of improper maintenance, I believe. The mortality rate of organics in the facility rose quickly. The explosions herded the miners into emergency sections of the station, quickly and efficiently cutting them off from communications and facility control. But sadly enough, not the ventilation systems. You see, the explosions had damaged specific sections of this facility's ventilation systems, causing a slow, lethal buildup of toxic fumes in the dormitory level. Ironically enough, any miner that fled to the dormitory level to protect themselves from the droids and the explosions would find themselves in a gas-filled death trap.
She might still have enough time to rescue them.
It is unlikely any miners remain alive. Unfortunately, communication with the dormitory section is severed, Master. It is perhaps for the best, especially if any other accidents had occurred in that section. If that were the case, the severed comm link would have spared us the satisfaction of hearing the miners' screams as they lived out their last moments in fear and terror.
Surik considers satisfaction to be an unusual term to use for their present situation.
Rapid retraction. Why, yes, satisfaction in knowing their fate, Master. It would be unfortunate if they had been slaughtered, but there would be a calm, comforting certainty that there is nothing we can do to escape until a ship arrives.
This protocol droid's descriptions of events seem to be laden with speculation. She doesn't have time to question. Every part of her being is telling her to leave this facility as soon as possible.
Warning, Master. Continued exploration of this facility may place you in unnecessary danger. Condescending retraction. I believe you will do your best, Master. This facility would have to be nailed down with a droid-level precision to prevent your escape. It is only a matter of time before a ship or freighter docks with the Peragus facility. When that occurs, we shall depart this place forever. I encourage you to return to the medical bay and wait for retrieval from a vessel that is no doubt on the way, even as we continue this pointless conversation.
Pointless indeed. There's no way to reach the dormitories internally with the turbo lifts locked down. Instead, she must take a spacewalk and access the dormitories from the outside. Furthermore, even if she considered simply running to the hangar and escaping, she finds that this doesn't seem to be a possibility as the path is blocked by force fields. Perhaps some of the miners, if they are still alive, may be able to help her in disabling them. Either way, she must reach the dormitories.
Explanation. Of course, for that, you would need to unlock the maintenance console, and without the maintenance officer to speak the voice print protocol, that is impossible.
His body appears to have gone through a lot of punishment.
Musing. In the last days of his life, the maintenance officer was quite careful about voice protocols, bordering on paranoid obsession. Conjecture. I suspect once he realized something was wrong in the facility, he voice-locked the droid bay functions. A prudent measure, but in the end, he met the same fate as the rest of the organics. I heard his dying screams as the droids he tended turned on him, mining him like a piece of asteroid rock.
5 droids, burning through the outer door. They're forcing their way into the bay. Please, someone that... Oh no, they're through! Oh, my leg! They're burning through my leg! Oh, stop! Stop, please!
Addendum. His remaining attempts at communication are variations in Decibel Master, ranging from frenzied screams to gibbering inarticulate attempts to beg for his life.
Fascinating information that proves to be of no value. With HK seemingly insistent that she stay here, he won't be of much use. Before proceeding and facing the rest of the rampaging mining droid army, Surik uses the resources and the workbench and droid maintenance to arm herself additionally. She also finds a sonic imprint sensor locked in one of the cargo containers, sparking a convenient solution to her new problem. A pity this protocol droid was not of greater use. It may be able to recreate what it heard from the maintenance officer, Surik comments, but it's surely not sophisticated enough to entirely mimic his voice to produce new sentences. For instance, the sentence used in the voice print protocol.
Proud answer. Master, I believe my vocabulator is working adequately enough to accommodate your request. A recitation. Maintenance control voice print ID R1B5. There. Was that sufficient, Master?
Most impressive, she remarks, before proceeding to deal with the droids between her and the airlock.
Maintenance control voice print ID R1B5.
With the airlock now suddenly accessible, the path to the dormitories is clear. For a brief moment, ignoring the urgency of the situation, the environment outside of the mining facility is oddly calming. At the very least, the instant threat of malicious mining droids is halted while she's out here, and the view of the galaxy, separated from her only by the visor of her suit, is almost comforting. Sadly, there's no time for a break. She will save the starlight and galaxy's wonders as a reward for escaping this facility.
That's about time. I lost your signal after you left the mining tunnels. Now you're coming in clear.
Except I'm picking you up on the exterior of the facility, on the asteroid's surface. That can't be right.
Although dangerous, this truly was the only path to reach the dormitories.
Huh? What are you doing out there? You're crazy, even for a Jedi. Look, you need to get out of there, quick. What little is left of the facility's venting systems have gone active, most likely from the explosions in the mining tunnels. They're venting Peragus fuel deposits into space through the exterior vents. Right in your path. The vents look like they've been purposely rerouted to vent the gases to the exterior. And only in the last few minutes. It's almost as if... Now what now? I don't believe this. There's a ship coming in, sending a docking code. I have a bad feeling about this.
He has come.
Based on everything she learned thus far, the arrival of the Harbinger only further complicates things. Then again, with any threat it may have brought with it, there may also be an additional escape route. She delays such thoughts for later. Now she must quickly make her way to the dormitories to see if any miners remain. The area doesn't look promising. It echoes the administration level, with bodies of miners and broken droids scattered about. The door to the dormitories is still sealed. Examining the dormitory console, she can peer inside through camera feeds. The situation appears even grimmer as she disables the ventilation systems. From this console, she may now finally unseal the doors.
Emergency lockdown overridden.
No survivors.
Sir, couldn't we contact the medbay? Maybe the Jedi's awake. If so, she could help us.
No good. The link to the medical computer was severed from the hub, just like the administration console. Even if the Jedi wakes up, how would we get the dormitory turbolift code to her? Without it, the turbolift to the administration level is locked down. Just finished helping the dock officer set up the transmission relay. Not much signal strength, but it's better than nothing. The transmission gives the code to open the turbolift when or if help arrives. Code is a simple group of 5 numbers. 3, 17, 13, then the next 2 numbers are...
The holo recording appears to suddenly end here. Surik examines the available data to uncover the remaining 2 numbers. It looks like a military flash code. As she takes her time to decode it, she sets the latest available log entries and security records to play, in case they may contain relevant information.
We've set the emergency transmission on automatic playback. We're using a simple military flash code to transmit the code to the turbolifts, so maybe our rescuers can get down to the dormitory when they reach the station.
She had assumed it to be, but she is now certain it's a military flash code. Surik quickly begins deciphering it.
Someone's played us for fools. And since Corda and his crew aren't locked in here with us, it's pretty clear who it was. If I ever catch up with that Mandalorian-loving son of a... At least the air scrubbers are still working, even though they're tied into the... Hey, what's happening to the ventilation system?
By the looks of it, it would appear the miner named Quarta was responsible for everything that happened here, and yet, her presence here means something prevented his plan from unfolding to its end. Surik enters the code she extrapolated. 3, 17, 13, 5, and 7. Odd. She's certain the code is correct. She re-enters it, but it's not working. Unless it has been changed. She accesses the latest available camera records, hoping to find a clue.
Almost didn't make it out of the dormitory section before the lockdown, you murklack. You're cutting a little close, aren't you?
Yes, a regrettable miscalculation on my part. I'm contacting you because I'm picking up a subspace transmission from within that level. Is that your doing?
No, they must be trying to use the old relay system to send an emergency signal. I doubt they know what's really going on.
Hey, this turbo lift's locked down.
Try the code again, and don't worry about the miners and their transmission. By the time help arrives, we'll be all the way to Nar Shaddaa.
Oh, they won't be leaving the dormitories. The explosion within the tunnel has damaged the ventilation systems, causing breaches in the core exhaust conduits.
What? That's going to kill them all!
Not all of them, but I'm sending a number of mining droids to your location right now to correct that problem.
Corda, this turbo lift's locked down. The sequence isn't working.
Keep trying it! You! Why are you doing this? Why me?
You. It was never about you. The Jedi is all that interests me. But then you had to ruin everything by revealing her identity and then trying to harm her. And that I cannot allow. Statement. You are a risk, Corda. You are impulsive, crude, and soon, deceased.
Mocking query. Corta, are you dead yet? Smug statement. I believe I forgot to mention that I reversed the turbolift codes, in case you managed to get this far.
With her suspicions confirmed, she realizes it's unlikely her movements have been ignored thus far. She hurries to unseal the turbolift by reversing the code, and rushes back to the administration level.
I have felt a disturbance. Our enemy is here. We must leave at once. The one that fired upon the Ebon Hawk, and he will not let us go without blood being shed. The story is a long one, and time is short. Come, we must go, and quickly. We need to make our way to the docking area on this level. I fear the airlock has already opened, and if so, we must be on our guard. If we cannot reach the Ebon Hawk, then we must find a way to escape on the ship that is docked here.
What in space is going on? Who's this? Another Jedi? What, did you guys suddenly start breeding when I wasn't looking? I'm guessing that Republic ship that just docked isn't carrying friends of yours.
I hope your talent for understatement is offset by your skill with a blaster. If not, then I fear our time together will be short indeed.
Yeah, and I'm also good at running and drinking, Your Majesty. And even if you two aren't big friends of the Republic, that warship's the only way off this station. Good thing we have a clear run to the ship.
Threat. Master, perhaps I did not enunciate clearly the last time we spoke. I suggested that you should shut down, stay put, and wait for rescue.
HK-50 had plenty of opportunities to kill her. Hesitance in performing its primary function is a very odd trait for an assassin droid.
Clarification. Assassin droid is such a crude term, Master, reserved for Durasteel drones uploaded with only the most archaic kill programs. The function I perform has been referred to as wanton slaughter. I prefer to see it as a means of facilitating communication, resulting in the termination of hostilities.
Logically, that would include the termination of the entire population of a mining station.
Indignant answer. Master, the miners intended to place you in jeopardy. I could not allow that to take place, so I was forced to negotiate a termination of hostilities. After reprogramming the mining droids to mine any organics they perceived, they began to kill the miners one by one. Then a series of flawlessly timed explosions drove the miners into their dormitories, where I was able to gas them all at once without wasting time hunting them through the mining tunnels. I then administered a large dose of sedatives to the remaining miners in the med bay, enough to kill them, but ensure you slept peacefully. Of course, against my calculations, you awakened from your tank prematurely. I am ashamed by the inconvenience that caused for both of us.
Fortunately, the droids did not kill her before she awoke.
Answer? You misunderstand me, Master. Those droids were there to guard you. As I said, I did not anticipate you awakening from the tank. You are quite a hardy specimen for a Jedi, a wrung toe among humans, if you will indulge me the metaphor. Besides, as you proved, Master, such droids could never pose a threat to a Jedi. The droids were custodial in nature, cleaning the facility of other distractions.
Why would someone want to capture a living Jedi? Why not simply have her killed as soon as the opportunity presents itself?
Answer. No, Master. Killing you was never the intention. If you resist my attempts to return you to your Kolto tank, however, I may inadvertently fracture your skeleton in several places to incapacitate you. It is beyond the scope of my programming to probe the motivations of my clients, Master. Suffice to say that I am being well compensated for my services. You have been a difficult target to find. You have been wandering the galaxy since the end of the Mandalorian Wars, leaving little record of your passage. It is as if you did not wish to be found. I happened to be serving as a protocol droid on the Harbinger when you booked passage. After that, it was a simple matter to sabotage the Harbinger and call for a retrieval. Irritated statement. However, when the Ebon Hawk appeared and salvaged us from the wreckage, I was forced into a series of rapid recalculations, culminating in our current situation.
Whoever sent HK-50 after Surik was clearly willing to sacrifice much to obtain her.
Chiding answer. My programming renders me incapable of revealing the identity of my client, Master. However, I am free to say that my client is wealthy and very interested in possessing the last of the Jedi. If inflicting pain is the only means to resolve this matter, then you leave me no choice.
Everyone down!
Focus.
Critical damage detected. Statement. Self-destruct sequence activated. 3, 2, 1. Statement.
With HK-50 defeated, the three proceed to the Harbinger. Greetings, historian. The next fragment of Meetra Surik, the complete story, will become available on the following date. You may, however, access this fragment earlier within the following timeframe through memberships. Note that the complete story is still under construction. As fragments are formed, they will be made available to you. At the time of this fragment's appearance, the completion of the full story is indicated below. These story fragments will try their hardest to arrive on the first Saturday of every month. And as streams also typically take place on Saturdays, join them to share your thoughts and opinions. There may be one taking place shortly after this video, so examine the top of the description for more information. The knowledge has been imparted to you. Upon our journey, the pieces shall fall into place.